Social media marketing tool or just entertainment? Episode 110 of Mastering Local Marketing with Matt Hansen. He, of course, is a Purdue Northwest digital marketing professor, and he's been in the space for upwards of 30 years. Social media is one of the most talked about yet misunderstood channels for small business marketing. In this episode, we delve into whether social media truly functions as a powerful marketing tool that drives customer engagement and revenue, or it has it involved into just entertainment. We explore how local businesses can develop an effective social media strategy by leveraging platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok within their overall marketing planning for small business growth. Many business owners feel overwhelmed about their social media efforts. And this episode breaks down the difference between visibility versus results, attention versus action, and busy work versus marketing effectiveness. If you are responsible for marketing for small business or managing local marketing initiatives, this conversation will challenge your perspective on social media marketing strategies and help you use social media for business more intentionally and successfully. Well, let's start with the debate, Matt. Much of social media is entertainment.
Okay.
How do you wedge your business into people's cat videos, huh?
So, and I wasn't quite sure which direction you would go with this, right? So, social media, it's the go-to for every single business, right? I can do it. It's quote unquote simple to do. Or as I hear, it's free, which it's not free because you got to put time and effort into it.
It's not free distribution at all. But
No.
you're
right?
paying for that when they put ads next to your thing.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So, I hear it all the time. Oh, well, we have an Instagram and we have TikTok and we have YouTube and we have all this stuff and I always sit there and I go, okay, how's that working? And they'll well, it's good. We have some followers. And I go, all right, but how is that working? And they're like, what do you mean? And I go, well, what are your goals? What are you trying to do?
God, you've done this to me.
I've done this
I
to
hate
everybody.
this discussion. To get your A out of his class, he's going to do it to you too. Adriana Alvarez is our producer and a senior at Purdue Northwest. But anyways, I hate when you did that to me.
Why?
I hated it.
Why?
Because you were right. I didn't have the resources at the time I didn't have the ability to get where you wanted me to be with this business. And the other guys, certainly they didn't have the wherewithal. But now they're understanding it. But we had 15 million Facebook interactions last year. And you're like, eh. And I was like, oh, God, we were so proud of that. And we thought you were going to come in and just be going crazy about it. And you're like, well, what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what is that? My guys were heartbroken when you came up with that. Well, what are you doing? Is it helping your bottom line anyway? And they're like, well, not really.
Yeah, I don't mean to crush any souls there, but yeah, like 15 million impressions. Okay, that's great. But was that your goal? I mean, is that your goal as a business? And that's what we're talking about today, is that a lot of people go out there and they develop really great content, which you guys do. But what is your goal? Is your goal to be the next 15, 30 million, 45 million impressions? Is that your goal? Or is your goal to sell more ad space? Is your goal to expand into new markets? Like, what is the goal that you've set out there? So a lot of people will go out there and they'll build great content, right? Absolutely great content. And I know I can name, on two hands here, local people that are producing great content. That's fine. Good for you. You're an entertainer at that point. Are we a marketer? Are we a business? Or are we an entertainer? And that's the debate that I want to talk about today, is because we really have to think about that. Because most people will just continue to produce content over and over and over again. And instead of drawing it back to a conversion metric or, something that they want to have happen, they just let it go. And they're just like, well, we get people that comment. And okay, is that going to leave the electric on? Is that going to pay for, the water to the building? Is that going to pay, for you to put your kid through school as you run your business? Tie it to something individual, tie it to a goal. And with you, obviously you have 15 million impressions and all this stuff from last year, or, I don't know where it's going to end up as we continue to go, but 15 million is a lot. And that is great because it's leading to goals that you currently have, because you're incorporating your customer base, your advertisers, into that content
now. But I think we and Adriana, who is producing this, I think we understand that we had 15 million impressions and not one lead out of that. And that is a travesty. Mm-hmm. And it took Hanson sitting here looking us in the face and kind of making us all feel a bit crestfallen. And
I didn't mean to do that. I'm just trying to point you in the right direction.
There was no other way than for us to have that feeling. Yeah. And so when we're talking about your business and you're looking to say, oh, well, I just want exposure and awareness, and I just want reach, and I don't really care if the social media doesn't get leads and interactions with the people that make decisions, I think that you got to re-examine it right from the start. You could have a lot less interactions if they're with the right people.
Right. Yeah. Again, if your goal with social is to get people to notice you, that's fine. That's an awareness factor. But can you tell me how many people in your environment know who you are? Have you done the benchmark study? Have you asked the question? Have you gone to the grocery store and asked 20 people if they know what your business is or who your business is? Without the benchmarks, without studying anything, you're just creating content. You've just become a producer of content. And that's fine if that's what you're trying for. If you're trying to just put that out there. But even the influencers that we talk about, their end game is not to produce the content. Their end game is to buy those fancy cars that they want because they're selling, the opportunity to be part of their network. So if you start and you build these things, and, even going back to like Mr. Beast, I mean, the guy worked from, I think, age 13 to 19 before somebody even started watching him, and I was reading an article about him yesterday, and it was talking about how he doesn't have all of this money sitting around where everybody thinks he's this, massive billionaire with money sitting in the bank. It's invested into a company that he's created, right? So he's business focused, number one, in growing it because he's got to drive revenues back to support continual growth and those types of things. So if you're not looking at social media from the standpoint of here's an end game with a revenue dollar or growth or something along, or even generating enough awareness to then drive revenue coming in the door, is it worth it? And that's what I wanted to talk about, because these are the conversations that I have with a lot of small businesses. They're like, well, we've got our social pages. And I go, that's great. How are they producing? Well, we produce content. Okay. I mean, that's where it ends usually.
So explain how the algorithms work with the content.
Right. So algorithms will reward entertainers. They're not going to reward buying behaviors, right? So think of it in terms of, I see a video online and I get hooked, right? And I want, they throw the hook in the first 3 seconds and you sit there and you watch it for the next, we'll call it 2 minutes. They're rewarding the entertainment value. Why? These platforms do not want you jumping from their platform to your website, to somebody else's website. They're trying to keep you on the platform. So, for example, YouTube, when you're watching a video, if it leads to another video and another video and another video, they reward those companies or those profiles more than if you put a link in your description and people are jumping off to come to your website. Their whole business is keeping people on the platform so that they can serve more ads and make more money, right? So if you're trying to drive people from your social media profiles, your pages, over to your website, that's actually a negative in terms of the algorithm, right? They don't want you leaving their platform because they can't serve any ads on your website. So they're rewarding the entertainers. They're not rewarding the people that are getting people to buy things. They will if you're buying advertising from them. They're fine with that. But if you're just putting content out there on the free side of it, they don't want people jumping off their platform.
You guys understand that? Do you understand that? What don't you understand? I mean, we're talking to the average small and medium-sized business, right? And this is a concept that I did not quite get when I took classes, that the algorithm is going to reward whatever keeps you on that website. And that is not good for our TV network where we wanted them to go back to our network. So when we kind of figured that out, our numbers went way up and we got pushed into the algorithm. We weren't pushing people off the website anymore. We were like just giving them a full content, a highlight or whatever, and we were putting it up. And then, we may get on the Don Fisher thing right now, we're getting 40,000. We're leaving it there. We're not saying, hey, come over here to watch it. They can watch a good portion of it there. Does that make sense? I mean, it was hard to learn that. In other words, you want to go there and then bounce over to Heartland Sportsnet.
Yeah.
That was actually working against us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it in terms of you have a small retail shop. Do you want your competitors coming in there and telling them all the wonderful things that they can offer next door and then them taking your customers and walking next door? That's essentially what they're saying. Like, we'll let you provide content in my store, but we're not going to reward you and we're not going to show those messages if you're going to continue to take people somewhere else. If they're going to stay within our store and continue to experience our store, we'll let you put the content there. But as soon as you start taking people out the door, that's when you start to get that negative side of it, right? So, and you'll learn this, you're going to learn this in the class, is that you can go out there and you can promote, because you're going to build a podcast.
Yes.
You're going to go out there and promote it probably on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I know I'm going to make the mistake of wanting to do every single social media.
Right.
I know that's the first thing that's going to light up in my head, and I know that's not what I should do.
Right. So you're going to do all of this stuff, and then what you're going to realize is you're trying to get somebody to jump from one platform to another in a platform that doesn't want you to do that. Right? So you're going to see relatively horrible results.
Yeah.
Okay. I run the digital marketing competition, right, for Purdue, and we have, at this point, we're all over the world. They're coming in like crazy right now.
Do you need some help?
Like France.
I might. I mean, I was going through them this morning. But what I'm saying is we were working with a company, and I won't name names, but they started launching all these social platforms for the DMC. And I'm like, why are we doing this? And they said, oh, you got to be everywhere. And I go, you don't understand our customer. And they're like, what do you mean? You got to put content out. I'm like, these college kids aren't going to come over to Facebook and look at content that, basically says, hey, the DMC launches in, 2 weeks. They don't care about that. There's going to be no engagement whatsoever. And what you're trying to do is drive them off of Facebook or Instagram at that point to another website. I said, don't do it. Like, it doesn't make sense. So they did it for a while, and I kind of looked at them and I told you so, right? But realize that, once you start to understand the system and what you're playing in somebody else's backyard and trying to pull people out of their party. They don't want you to do that. So when I say it's entertainment, yeah, that's fine. But you're trying to drive traffic back to a website or whatever, and many times you're not going to get rewarded for that.
Do you understand that? It took me a long time to get that because we were going at it like, hey, come over here. We'll give you a little bit, but we really want you on our platform. And it's like, God, we were getting nothing. And as soon as we gave up we're almost back to just running our games on Facebook and YouTube and our own platform. It's similar to the idea that, well, why would you stream a game? Because then people won't come. It's actually just the opposite. More people will come if you stream the game. So if we want more people to our platform, more people will come if we actually put the content out on other platforms. I don't know why that works, but it does.
But your revenue stream is the game, right? So your revenue stream is not derived from somebody coming from Facebook and jumping back over to a website or coming into a location. Your revenue stream is from advertising in the game. In that game, it doesn't matter where it's produced or where it's put out there, right? Like whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or it's on your own website or mobile app, right? Like it doesn't matter because you can measure all those impressions and that makes your customer happy.
What do you mean by attention is marketing?
A lot of people will tell me that, right? Like, well, we're getting attention. People are paying attention to us on social. And I said, okay, that's fine. What are we measuring against? I always ask the goal. Like, what are you measuring against?
It's awful when he asks that question. We've gone through all of this.
It's awful because you hate being held responsible for what you're doing in that, right?
I am playing the role genuinely of all of the other people that have small and medium-sized businesses. Mm-hmm. They would hate to sit in a room saying, oh, God, we had 2,000 people look at a post, and we're all excited about it. And you just rip it apart.
I don't rip it apart. I ask, what's the goal, right? So you got 2,000 people to see it.
You flesh it out. You don't rip it apart.
No, it's the question. You had 2,000 people that showed up to your front door. How many of you, did you sell them anything? Does anyone become a customer, right? Did anyone walk through your store? Did anyone make a phone call to you? That's 2,000 people, right? So if I could go get 2,000 people and bring them into my store or have them call my business, yes, that's great. Tie it to something that's going to get somebody in the store to make a phone call, to purchase something, to try something, right? A free trial. Just get their information. Get something out of it other than just a view.
Can we go back to something she said, Adriana? Adriana said she's going to take your class and you're going to give all of these real-world scenarios, and she's going to wind up making the mistake of going to maybe 5 social media platforms.
That's going to be my initial thing to want to do.
Okay. So is every small business in America going to want to do the same thing.
Right.
Why is that bad thinking?
You only have so much time in a day. So now you're going to go put all of this effort into all of these platforms and try and develop all of this content. And what I say is focus on one if you're going to do one. Right? Don't be everywhere. Don't try to do everything. And quite honestly, a lot of people are like, well, but it's fine because I can take what's on TikTok and then duplicate it and put it on Instagram. You can. The platform hates that. Right?
And they know that.
They know it. They know that you've taken the same content and put it on both. And they hate that. Right? So you're going to see one will take off and one won't. They have the ability to compare. Right? Now, there's certain ways that you can go, and I'm not going to get into that right now, like things you can do and change and all that. But realize that you only have, let's call it, you're an entrepreneur, you got 12, 14 hours in the day that you're putting toward your business, right? You're not working an 8-hour day. You're putting, entrepreneurs, we always joke that we work 14 hours a day to get away from the 8-hour grind that we had at our old job, right? It's what we do.
It's exactly true.
It's exactly true, right? So now you're working, 6 more hours than you did at your 9-to-5 job, and time is very valuable. You're doing your accounting. You're doing ordering for product. Maybe you spent the last hour talking to your best customer that walked in, right? There's all these things, and now you have to go create all of this content.
Ordering pajamas.
Yes. Get your WJOB pajamas and wear them to the grocery store. Yeah, for those of you that didn't listen to the radio, we'll talk about that a different day. Non-traditional pajama marketing efforts. Yeah.
So you're the small to medium-sized business, and you're looking out. I mean, even LinkedIn is so hard to keep up on, but there's some people that are so good at it. Yeah. And then Facebook. Paul Goddard, a good, associated person. He just knows that one. Yeah. And he knows how to work the algorithm. He knows how to get kicked off at times.
Yeah.
But he knows it. And he's got 220,000 people that follow him. And he's really good at it, but he knows that platform.
Yeah. I had to drive my wife to work this morning because he posted that 30 was a solid sheet of ice. I'm like, great, thanks,
Yeah,
Paul.
and we put it out on exactly. We put it out on the radio, and he told us.
Yeah.
So, but he knows how to leverage that. He's actually, he'll tell me, and then I'll tell people go like his page.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes and goes that way. But how does that person just sitting there go, gosh, which one should I choose?
Again, it goes back to what your goals are, right? So are you going to just create content to just create content? I mean,
Awareness on the top of the sales funnel.
I mean, is that your business model? I just want to create as much awareness as possible. And it may be, right? But you got to measure it in some capacity. If you, and I think, some of you probably listen to Hormozy out there, but like he's got a video out there right now that says you should be producing you should take out of the work week 2 days to produce content. Now, how many of the people we're talking to are going to spend 28 hours this week producing content for social? Nobody, right? So he's extreme. And it's funny, even in the videos, people are looking at him like he's crazy, but that's just what he does. Like, he produces that kind of content. You have maybe 10 minutes in a day to produce content? And how good is that content going to be when you put 10 minutes into it? Like, all right, let's shoot a video on what just came in. Here's our latest new products. Okay, great. Are the new products selling? Can we tie that back? Can we tie that post back? Can you give them a promo code? Like, if you come in and buy based off of this post, we'll throw in this free gift, right? And then as people come in and they ask for that free gift, you can check off and say, okay, well, that post had 2,000 people that watched it, and we had 20 sales off of it. Okay, now I know I can do the math on it, and that's our conversion off of it. Most people won't do that, and I get that. We're busy. So when we talk about, is social media entertainment or is it focused on the business? Ask yourself that. Like, are you just trying to entertain? Or are you trying to use it in a business context, right? Like, is it your marketing, or are you just being an entertainer? Are you a content producer?
Let's end it right there. Thanks a lot, Matt. This is episode 110, is social media a marketing tool or just entertainment? You can get us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get us in video on YouTube. We are in some temporary digs right now as WJOB 1230, our hosting radio station and podcast network, has moved. But tell people about it, like us, subscribe to us, and we'll keep doing it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Until next time, we'll see you later.